smug smirk on his face, the man made his way down the hall to meet with his father and his brother. He moved his head from side to side, stretching his neck. He hated these synthetic bodies. They were pure garbage. This was his third one this month. But it felt so good to be in the real flesh, even if only for a short time. Still, he preferred real flesh over these clones any day. Hell, he preferred his own flesh. But at last, Lion had taken that away from him. He chuckled, remembering how scared Butter had been in his arms. Closing his eyes, he remembered the taste of her. He had always wanted to taste her when he walked on the earth in his own body. He had never gotten a chance, though. Once again, thanks to Lion and her crackhead mother. But if things went according to his plan, he would have her completely. He opened the door to his father's office. The first thing that greeted him was the bright red of his brother's cardinal dress.
"Man, can you turn that thing down?"
he asked.
"Is it done?"
His brother responded.
"Slow your roll. Let me at least get in before you start hammering me with questions." "Or
his father said from where he sat behind his desk.
"Is it done?" "It's done."
Or Dollar Bill in his former life, sat down in one of the chairs opposite his dad's desk.
"Oh yeah, it's done. And Lion did exactly what we thought."
He shivered.
"He is such a brute. He ripped the poor boy's throat right out."
Shaking his head, he reached for one of the candies on his father's desk.
"And you know what? I actually thought I was a goner. Solomon showed up. But he was so caught up in the fact that Lion had just killed Gideon's brother, he didn't even start to wonder if the boy had been possessed or not." "Good,"
Aryan said, sitting back in his seat.
"Now, tell me again how this was a good idea." "For the life of me, I'm finding it hard to believe. We have all of us, worked so hard to keep these two separated. And you have gone and pointed them out to each other. I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about this. If they team up, that's it for us."
Dollar Bill chuckled.
"That's why you, big brother, preach. And you leave all the hard lifting to me. These two have been mortal enemies since before they were born. Their rivalry goes back way before our time, bro."
The Cardinal shook his head.
So, we've been trying to kill them both for a long time, and nothing has worked. You know why? Because the big guy in the sky protects them from us, and there's nobody else strong enough to stop them. But what about each other? Whose side will he choose?"
He shook his head.
"He's such a loving father. He won't show favor to either of them. That, my brother, is what we're going to use to our advantage. Lion knows who he is. Gideon doesn't have a clue. He's just a bloody brute that answers to no one. And Lion has just murdered his favorite brother. It's gonna be a bloodbath, boys. And hopefully, when it's all done, they'll both be laying dead in the streets. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show."
I sat at Nuriya's kitchen island holding Stormy and Solomon's 5-month-old son Yehuda, kissing his fat cheeks. Asked his mother Nuriya cooked food for the guys for after the fight downstairs was over. The gym was packed. Some big name fighters were fighting here tonight. "Look, y'all, I can't stay long. I just came to drop that ointment off for your back storm. Just rub a little bit on it before bed, and when you wake up in the morning, you should be good. Girl, thank you so much. You are a lifesaver. I promise you, that boy just laid on my back the whole 9 months I carried him. Oh, wait, I have that moringa tree for you. Here, let me get it, Milliard said, disappearing out of the kitchen before reappearing with a nice-sized tree growing in a pot. I frowned. I parked around the corner and down the block. Thanks to this fight, there was nothing closer. And I know you don't think I'm carrying that thing all the way to my car. Nuria and Stormy looked at each other and then started laughing. Okay, here we go. Wait, just wait for it. We're finna get started. No, princess. We didn't think that you was carrying anything anywhere, because we all know that Daddy's little princess doesn't lift a finger to do any manual labor. First of all, Nuria, I am 28, so you can stop with the Daddy's little princess stuff already. It's getting old. Oh, I'm sorry. Is Daddy's little princess all grown up? She looked at me with a sad face. I bit my lip not to laugh with her. Yes, I am grown, and I'm not spoiled anymore. Stormy and Nuria erupt in laughter at that. Girl, have you ever washed a dish in your whole life? Stormy asked. Storm, washing dishes don't define me as a woman. I may not have washed a dish, but I've done plenty of other stuff. I was tired of defending myself to my friends. Nuria said, putting her hand on her hip. Like what? I thought about it. And we're not talking about making medicines. We all know you the bomb Hitler. But have you ever cooked a meal? Or washed a load of clothes? Heck, have you ever worn any of your clothes twice? Now that I've done, I told them. It's true. I like to shop and wear nice things. But nothing, Nuria interrupted. If you wore something twice, it was because it was your favorite. Your closet is the size of my bedroom. And that would be okay if you had a job. You don't. You've never worked a job in your life. Your daddy buys you anything you want. You know what, Nuria? I looked at her. I looked at her because I was sad for my friend. You're just mad because my father is a generous man. And lying? Well, lying is cheap. That's not my fault, Nuria. Oh, please. Lying is not cheap. Your daddy is ridiculous. Have you ever bought anything off the rack at Walmart? Girl, I laughed at her. Surely she was joking. No, dear, I have not. Just wait till you get an Ish. He gonna put a stop to all that mess. I licked out my tongue at her. That's why I'm not getting married. I am perfectly happy with having my daddy as my covering. And ever since my mom passed, he's perfectly happy having me home where he can keep a close eye on me. Nuria shook her head. You know what, Safia? I wouldn't be surprised if your Ish spoiled you just like your father. You're the kind of person that deserves it. Because you're one of y'all's healers. You always doing stuff for other people. And I think he's gonna always take care of you, Stormy said. Thank you, Stormy. You are wise as well as beautiful, I told her, standing to lay little Yehuda back in his playpen. When I was done, I looked at Nuria and I stuck my tongue at her again. Nuria, you should stop being such a player hater. Player hater, she squealed. Who taught you that? I chuckled. Dawid. She shook her head. Dawid, get your tail up here and help your daughter out to her car. And please stop teaching her slang. She'd look ridiculous saying it. She had said that without never raising her voice. I shook my head. I don't think I would ever get used to that. Moments later, Dawid came through the door, his face flushed from where he was cheering on his favorite fighter. He walked in kissing his mother on the cheek before he lifted the plant. Now, you ask me, how did he know that I needed help lifting that plant? It's because he probably heard our whole conversation from down in the crowded gym. I know, it's wild, right? Well, I guess it's no wilder than plants lighting up for me. You ready, Dodai? He asked, clearly impatient to get back to the fight. Yeah, man. After I kissed Stormy and Nuria goodbye, we left out, going out the back so I can avoid carrying the big tree through the crowd. You enjoying the fight? I asked him.
Yeah, me and Shlomo got a bet going on who gonna win tonight. And guess what? If I win, he gonna give me his old motorcycle that's just been sitting in his garage.
He was so excited. So I really hated to bust his bubble. Now you know, your mama ain't gonna let you ride on no motorcycle.
Yes, she will. I'll be 15 next month. My pop said.
He stopped speaking and walking. What? I asked, coming to a stop. He looked down the alley, squinting his eyes.
Doda, go back in,
he yelled, throwing the plant down. What? Why? Was all I got out before I felt a sharp pain in the back of my neck. My eyes widened when I looked at a dart in Dawid's neck. I reached up to pull the dart out, but the last thing I remember before everything going black was me falling forward in my 14-year-old nephew's arms and us both going down to the ground. After that, I had short periods of semi-consciousness. Like, I opened my eyes long enough to know that I was on a plane before I lost consciousness again. When I came through again, I was on a different plane. This one not nearly as nice as the first one. When I came through again, I was being half carried, half dragged.
Doda, wake up, please. I need your help if we're going to get away.
Dawid's voice sounded far away. Then it got closer. He was carrying me, running through the woods, but he couldn't go very fast because of me. I pushed the fogginess away, trying to clear the darkness from my head. But before I could completely, I heard a gunshot, and Dawid's body jerked, sending us both crashing to the ground. That woke me up fully. Dawid, I yelled, the smell of his blood filling my nostrils. Dawid! I scrambled to him on my hands and knees, trying to fight back the fog that wanted to claim me again. Dawid! Answer, Doda, I cried, turning him over so that I could see how hurt he was. I looked around. We were in the forest, and several plants lit up for me at once. I didn't hesitate. I jumped to my feet, running to them. The first was a small purple flower. I plucked up a handful, quickly stuffing them in my pocket. I could hear feet approaching us fast. The next was a root. With hands that shook, I quickly dug it up. Hold on, baby. Yeah, I'm showing Doda how to fix this, I cried, wiping away tears with my sleeve. I quickly grabbed a handful of leaves that hung from a tree, and then I made my way back to where he lay, lifting up his shirt. Oh, yeah, I know. A gut wound. Please, Yah. Please, Abba Yah. Let his organs be okay. I grabbed the bottom of my skirt and I ripped it. I pressed the cloth to his wound to try and slow down the blood. Please, Abba Yah, in the mighty name of Yahushua, was all I was able to get out before something or somebody grabbed my locks, pulling me to my feet. I yelled out. It felt like they were going to pull my hair out of my head. Another man came to Dawid and kicked him in the side. No! I screamed, snatching away from the man, not caring about my hair, to throw myself over Dawid. If he did that again, he would kill him. They were talking amongst themselves, but I didn't understand what they were saying. It sounded like they spoke Spanish. It was so dark, I couldn't see their faces because they had flashlights pointing in mine. The man that had kicked Dawid began to yell something at me. I shook my head. I don't understand you, I cried. What do you want me to do? He yelled again, pointing toward the direction Dawid had been running from. Okay, you want me to walk? I held my hand out, trying to signal for him to be calm. When I stood, 2 more men came and roughly picked up Dawid. The man that grabbed my hair shoved me hard in that direction. Okay, I yelled at him. He lifted his hand and he slapped me hard. I fell to the ground, but he didn't let me stay there. Using my hair, he lifted me again and shoved me in that direction. I walked, and we walked for about 30 minutes before we came to what looked like a small village. Dear Yah, how far had David ran with me? Oh my goodness. Had I been awake, we probably could have gotten away. Man, had he gone without me? He could have gotten away. Dear Yah, give me strength to heal him. We walked through the village, and I felt like I had stepped back in time. The houses could only be described as modern-day square huts. They were small, and some of them in really bad shape. People was coming out of their houses to stare at us. One thing was clear. We was no longer in America. Judging by the look of the people, we were somewhere between America and Africa, but that was the only thing I was sure of. After leaving the village, we headed for a castle, a true castle, and it was huge. I eyed it amazed. I had read about castles, but I never thought I would actually ever see one up close. When we got to the big wooden gate, the man who had kept pushing me banged on the bars. A man that wore an eye patch opened it. Oh my goodness. He looked like something straight out of your nightmares. He was missing teeth, and the few he had was black as his skin. He smelled like death. He spoke in a language that sounded more like Spanish, but not quite. The man that pushed me pointed down to David. The one-eyed guy looked down at him and then spit on him. Hey! I yelled before I shoved him in his dirty chest. He didn't budge. He grabbed me around my neck, lifting me off my feet. I couldn't breathe. He yelled something in my face. I nodded, just knowing I had to live because I was all David had. He dropped me back to my feet before grabbing my arm and roughly pulling me through the gate and across a massive yard, down into a hole that looked like it came out of the ground. And I looked around. This place smelled like the sewer. We were going downstairs. We went down one set of stairs and then another. We were going deeper into the earth. And judging by the slime and the grime on the stones, on the ground and the walls, I knew if we weren't in the sewer, we were somewhere close to it. They led us down a long passage that eventually opened to what could only be described as a dungeon. A fat man sat outside a pair of iron gates. When he saw us coming, he got up and opened them. We walked through a passage that had cells on both sides, and some of them were occupied, until we got to a big one that was way in the back. They opened it up and they threw David in, and then shoved me in after him. I hit the ground, but I didn't stay there. Quickly, I was back on my feet. Please, wait, I need water. Please, I need soap and water, so that I can help him. The guard spit at my feet before slamming the bars closed in my face, locking them. Please, I yelled after the four men. They turned and walked away. Dear Yah, how was I going to do this without water? I needed to clean the wound and try and remove the bullet. I turned him on his back. David, baby, I need you to wake up. I patted his cheek. Oh yeah, he felt so warm. Okay. I dug in my pocket and I took out the plants. The purple flower lit up in my palm. I put it in my mouth, chewing it, before packing it into his wound. That will do for now, but I had to find a way to get soap and water. I positioned us so that David's head was in my lap. I put my palm over his wound and I began to pray. And I don't know how much time passed. I was so deep in my meditation with Abiyah that at first I didn't feel that David moved slightly underneath my touch.
Doda, your hands, they're hot, they're burning me,
he whispered. David, baby, how do you feel? I asked, but he was back out before I could even get my question out. I took my outer shirt off, So glad I had put the tank top on underneath it. Folding it, I gently laid it under his head. It was time for me to get us some supplies. I walked to the bars and I began to yell, "Help! Help me!" And I didn't stop yelling until that fat guard came to see what I needed.
What?
He spat. Surprised, I looked at him. "You speak English?"
Little.
He shrugged. "Okay, that's good. That's good. I need your help." He shook his head.
I know help prisoners.
He turned like he was going to walk away. "Wait!" I cried, sticking my arms to the bar. I put my hands together. "Please, just tell me why we're here. What did we do?" I was in tears, desperately needing his help. He nodded toward Dawid.
His dad killed the master's brother. And now the master, he's gonna kill him.
I shook my head, but he's just a kid.
Ha! You Americans. Here, he's a man.
He turned to walk away again. "Please, I'll do anything. I need soap and water." This got his attention. He turned to look at me, as if seeing me for the first time. His eyes ran down my arms, my chest. I jerked back, bringing my arms back into the cell. "Anything?" he asked, smiling at me, showing his rotten teeth. "Oh, please, no." "Marco," a sharp female voice said from somewhere down the passageway. The smile disappeared off his face. "Now you know if the master comes back and finds that boy dead before he can question him, you will follow close behind him." The older woman with a long gray ponytail that was braided down her back said, coming to stand next to him. She had a big bowl of hot water and some other supplies in her hand. "Thank you, Yah." "Open these gates, Marco. At once!" She spoke English beautifully. Grudgingly, Marco opened the bars and stepped back. As the woman came in, handed me the bowl, a bar of soap, 2 clean towels, bandages, and a pair of tweezers. "Thank you," I said to her. She didn't smile. "Don't thank me. That was my nephew that animal killed. I want him dead. I want his son to die. And you, if you're related, then I want you to die too." However, my eldest nephew would not be denied his revenge. She turned, and without looking back, was gone. Smirking, Marco shut the bars behind her. Then he blew me a kiss.
"Welcome to the armory, chica."